My name is Erin Bogus-Kimes, and on behalf of the Pennsylvania MGMA, I am pleased to welcome you to the first collaborative webinar for the Pennsylvania MGMA, uh, the Virginia MGMA, and the West Virginia MGMA, the first webinar of the 2022 year. We're happy to have you all back and joining us again for this year. Thank you, and we are pleased to welcome our speaker today. Dominic Vecchiolo is a creative publisher and marketer from the Dosu Design and Consulting Firm, which is a digital marketing agency that he started in 2001. And Dominic has been presented with us in the past, and I was very pleased to have him back again. He has created and worked on award-winning campaigns for nonprofit organizations, government agencies, and local businesses. He worked at Baltimore Center Stage and the Human Rights Campaign, as well as print shops and marketing agencies in Central Maryland. He has also spoken at other events for the MGMAs before, and I am very happy to have him with us today. So I want to welcome Dominic. Thank you all for joining us. Dominic will take questions towards the end of the presentation. So if you want to jot things down in the chat box or the Q&A, we'll be happy to take them at the end. Thank you for joining us, Dominic. You want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks so much, Erin. It's a pleasure to be back, and I'm happy to see so many of you here. I'm excited to share the content with you today. It's a really great topic that I see a lot of people get results in by focusing on this thing. And so I really am excited to share more information about how to build trust and gain patients through 5-star reviews without annoying clients or patients, nagging staff, or worrying about bad reviews. So let's get into it. We're going to start off with, there we go. What we're going to cover today. A few of the things that we're going to cover is why consistent online reviews across multiple sites are important for any practice, the 3 big reasons why your patients don't post reviews, and finally, proven strategies for gathering more reviews and ultimately attracting new patients. I want to start with this little quote from Roger Crawford: "Being challenged in life is inevitable, but being defeated is optional." And, you know, I can tell with such a great turnout today that, you know, we are not, the people who are here are interested in I'm assuming, an interest in growing their practice, and are not being defeated by the challenges that have been thrown at us in the last 2 years. And they keep coming, don't they? But we're still here, right? At the end of the day, challenge breeds opportunity. And this is a distinct opportunity for you all in terms of being able to help persuade people that your practice is reputable by paying attention to your online reviews. And just the fact that you're here is really a great point in the fact that you really want to make some changes, make some improvements, grow your practice. And so I want to just thank you for making this investment in yourself this time. And I want to ask a favor. It's so easy in today's day and age to be multitasking, especially with virtual webinars. And I want to sort of write you a permission slip to shut down your other distractions and give this presentation your full attention for the next 35 minutes or so before we get to the Q&A. And 40 minutes, whatever it is. But go ahead and close out those other windows. Take out a pen and paper if you want to jot down some notes. Close out those other windows. Turn on your Do Not Disturb. Make yourself available for what we're going to talk about here. It's good content. It's really amazing content, and it's some of it is visual. I see that there's at least one person here on the phone, but you'll be able to look at the recording after this. So a lot of it is visual. So it's helpful to have your full attention. So who is this for? At the end of the day, all of this information is anyone who wants more business, whether it's a small business or a medical practice or anything. But it's really for anyone who wants more business. And it's also for practices who want to make 2022 the best year ever. So who am I? And a little bit about me. I'm Dominic Vecchiolo, as Erin said. My agency is called Dosu Design and Consulting. It's also known as Dosu Digital Marketing. And it's the agency with a funny name. So Dasu was actually a childhood nickname my siblings used. And having a 5-year-old at home of my own now, and having watched him sort of learn to talk, I realize in retrospect that Dasu was probably what I called myself. It was probably something like Das or Dasu when I was learning to talk all those years ago. And it kind of stuck as a nickname. And when I started my agency in 2001, that actually, I figured out what a reasonable spelling of Dasu was, having only heard it all my life, and that was available as a URL. And so I snatched it up, and now it's nice having a 5-letter or a 5-character URL in today's day and age. So like I said, the agency was founded in 2001. I was doing mostly print work for membership organizations and nonprofits in the Washington area and in the Baltimore area. And for a good number of years, and I launched my first websites in around 2009. Both of those were health-related websites. One was a wiki that was targeted to people who, targeted for healthcare providers to help their patients who are HIV positive, who also might have a comorbid condition. So it was really a wiki about comorbidities for people with HIV. And then I also helped the District of Columbia, the Department of Health there, with relaunching their free condom distribution campaign called Join the Rubber Revolution. Those two things launched in 2009 and also launched my sort of trajectory into digital marketing. In 2015, I started focusing in more on content and helping clients really leverage their content to be found online and to build their reputations. And since then, I've expanded in my digital marketing practice and expertise into reputation management, which we're talking about today, and things like beyond websites into reputation management, into search engine optimization, and also online advertising. And now in 2022, I've launched about at least 50 sites in the last 5 years, and helped all those clients expand their digital footprint. I'm also involved in the community. I'm a member of the Maryland LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and my agency, of course, is gay owned and operated. I told you about our 5-year-old at home, and we're active in our church community in Baltimore County. I'm also a member of the Central Maryland Chamber of Business, which is a great way to help build the business community in Maryland. And I love working with local businesses, not just local to me, but local businesses that are rooted in their own communities. Because at the end of the day, local businesses of every stripe who are strong help their communities be strong. And then also I have a certificate here, just a teeny tiny thing. I wanted to remind myself to mention, especially for this audience, that I am HIPAA certified, and I maintain HIPAA certification as a business associate. So I am well versed in the particular needs of medical practices in terms of privacy and what's the word? Compliance. No. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also, one more thing, I'm also a member of Agency Coach, which is a collective, of digital agency owners from around the country and really around the world, who get together and share best practices. We meet every week virtually, and we meet in person twice a year. And so it's not just about what I'm doing here in my own agency in Baltimore, or even my own clients here in Baltimore, but I'm also always learning from the other agency owners around the country and teaming up with them to deliver solutions for my clients, for all of our clients really, that make sense. So that's a little bit about me. I hope you've had a chance to kind of, tamp down all of your distractions so that we can really get into the content now. So why are online reviews so important? Here are some numbers that tell you a little bit more about why online reviews are so important. 93% of people read online reviews about local businesses, and 97% of those people search for local businesses online. The next one, this third one here, is something that just blows my mind all the time. 85% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. Now, just stop and think about that. Like, if you're online, 85% of people trust a stranger posting a review online as much as getting a personal recommendation from their sister-in-law or their coworker or their friend, next door neighbor, whatever. That's just mind-blowing to me. I just can't believe that so many people would give so much weight to it. And I do it myself, honestly, looking at, especially when I'm looking at hotels and vacations, right? Dreaming about being somewhere else. Always trying to figure out what the next one is. 77% of consumers think that reviews older than 3 months aren't relevant. And I've seen more recent research than this figure that says that 48% of people actually think that reviews older than 2 weeks aren't relevant. So that gives you a sense of how you have to kind of keep them coming, keep those reviews coming in. And in the green box, this is also important. Most consumers look at more than one review site before making a decision. So they like to kind of make sure that your reputation is secure across various places. Linda, I'd love to talk more about rural areas. And it does, I think in that regard, it's a little bit more. I mean, the search is going to operate a little more differently in rural areas, but the reviews, people still trust those reviews. If you mean about if they trust the reviews as much as a personal recommendation, I could take that one up for discussion, and we can maybe talk about it a little more at the end during the Q&A. But so let's go through a little exercise here and just see, and anyone is welcome to pop in, open the chat and pop in your answer here. But if you got this result, this is the MAP 3-pack. So if you're familiar with Google search results, you usually get some ads at the top. You get this MAP 3-pack either at the side or in the middle, and then right below it, you start to get all the organic search results. But if you got these 3 results in the MAP 3-pack and you were looking for someone local in Dallas, Texas to do landscaping, what would be your first call? I'll give everyone a second to get it open and let me know. You just type in Roundtree Scapes or Sea Green, and let me know what you think. Yeah, I'm seeing some answers here. Yep, that actually is pretty consistent with what I've seen. Come on, people, let's get some life in here. Thank you. Really? Okay. I want to tell you that, yeah. Awesome, yeah. So that's absolutely, that is what I found. In my surveys, 92% of people are going to choose Scapes, even though Roundtree is in the first position. They're at the top of the list, but they're going to choose Scapes. And they're going to choose Scapes because it has the highest star rating and the highest number of reviews, 26 reviews and a 4.7 rating. Roundtree has 0, and Sea Green has fewer reviews and a lower rating. So, so that's pretty much what we see. So some of the key factors in reviews are not just that number, that average star rating, but that's the top one that people look at. But the total number of reviews is important. Or in the case of Roundtree Landscaping, the total lack of reviews makes an influence. The frequency of reviews is important. We talked a little bit, I talked a little bit a few slides ago about the fact that that people don't, sort of think that old reviews aren't relevant. And so that frequency of reviews is important. And, not only that they're recent, but also seeing that they come in kind of consistently over time and not just a big batch, now, and then a big batch 3 months later, the sort of a thing. People like to see that they're coming in regularly because it feels more organic and not contrived by the business owner. People also look at the average ratings across multiple sites. So they're going to look at your site, look at your rating on different places to kind of cross-reference and see that your reputation is consistent across the sites. This second to the last one here, how a business responds, period. I'd like to put a full stop after that, put a period after that word, because it's not just the negative reviews. We should really be also taking opportunities to respond to the positive reviews as well, and respond in a way that's authentic, not a cookie cutter. Like I think I've already said that I look at a lot of hotel reviews, right? And you'll see a lot of them sort of with a cookie cutter response with like, we're so glad you enjoyed your stay and blah, blah, blah. And even when they have a negative thing to say, it's sort of also cookie cutter, it's cut and dried. And so those being authentic in those reviews is really important. And then the overall sentiment of those reviews, aside from the average rating, if people go in and read it, what is the actual language they're using, and how are they responding to their experiences with that business? A couple other things that have come up recently about reviews, I'm not sure if you're aware, but early last year in 2021, Google updated, well, Google's always updating algorithms and its user experiences and its user interfaces. But this update was a big one, and it kind of was surprising to me at how big a difference it made. If you include the word best in your search string, like best restaurant near me in this example, or best pediatrician, or best chiropractor, or best dentist, it's going to automatically filter out anyone who has a star rating lower than 4.0. So if you do best, it's not even going to show your business if your business has a star rating on Google that's lower than 4.0. In addition, you'll see where the circle is, that there's a filter now also where you can filter it so that on whatever the star ranking you want. So you can ratchet that up to 4.5 and look at people who only have a star rating higher than 4.5 if you're so inclined. So those two things have been really a game changer in terms of who's showing up in search for the searchers as they go. The other thing we saw after the initial lockdowns in 2020 is that Google My Business and Google, now called Google Business Profile, the lead activity from Google Business Profiles is way up after those initial lockdowns. So we already were seeing about a 35% growth in early 2020 in call volume before the initial lockdowns. And after those initial lockdowns, call volume went up, recovered, and it went up another 27% from before the beginning of the pandemic. And what we learned from that is as reopening happens and continues to happen, as different communities are going through different amounts of COVID restrictions, customers are wondering, is your business dormant? Is it closed? What's changed? Are you offering telehealth visits? Are you offering any kind of how your office practices changed? What do I need to know if I'm coming to visit? Who is allowed to come visit? All of these things people are looking for. And I know when I go to a website and it doesn't feel like it's been updated right away, my next stop is to check out the Google business listing and make sure that what I'm seeing is up to date. And so that's really important. The other thing that is really kind of coming into play is that we all have these devices all over our houses, Echo Dots and Amazon and Alexa and all of these, and even the new Apple product. But we've seen an increase in the last 4 years of these devices in homes of about 55%. And so they're only going to become more prevalent. And we need to be making sure that we're showing up in those search results, and that that equates to being found in voice searches as well. So the only other thing I'll say about the importance of reviews, if you're ever planning on selling the practice, if your practice is ever planning on being sold, active management of your online reputation can add an actual measurable dollar value to increase your bottom line. And that's something that I learned from some business consultants last year. And I just thought it was amazing that, businesses that actively manage their online reputation and their reviews actually are worth more when a broker goes to help you sell your practice or your business. So the question I get a lot is, what about the bad reviews? What about what happens when you get bad reviews? And I do have a great example of how a business owner pivoted when they got a bad review. And this is not for everybody, but there is a restaurant that is famous for its fish and chips in Charleston, South Carolina. And they have tons of positive reviews, but they got this one negative review that says, It was most likely the worst fish they've ever had, on the brink of spoiled, and it's not proper fish and chips. I spent a number of years in the UK, and this is just not real fish and chips. Well, this business owner made hay with this. And so they started a whole campaign, come try the worst fish and chips that one bloke on Yelp ever had. But they were able to weather that, not only with a tongue-in-cheek response, but because they had tons of reviews. So look at this. This is their Yelp profile. It had 630 reviews. And their Google profile has almost 3,000 Google reviews with a star rating of 4.7. So one of the ways you can weather bad reviews is by brushing it off. You can respond. First of all, that's always a good thing to do, is to respond to serious negative reviews. And if they post it publicly, to respond publicly. You can try, obviously you want to move that conversation offline, but that's one thing. The second thing you can do for negative reviews is make hay with it and have a little tongue-in-cheek fun. That may not be appropriate for any medical practices, but this story is a lot of fun. The other way to mitigate bad reviews is to have more reviews. You can see they were able to weather this 1-star review because they had 3,000 reviews on Google and 600 reviews on Yelp. And so one poor review isn't going to tank their entire reputation. So, and just to give you a sense of what it takes, if you just let your reviews bubble up organically, it takes at least 40 positive customer experiences to offset just one poor review. And the way that math works is that it takes roughly, for every 10 positive customer experiences, you might get one glowing review, one 5-star review. So, and to offset a 1-star review, you need 4 5-star reviews, at least. And so you need 40 positive customer experiences to offset just 1-star review. And that's kind of how that math works. And so one of the things is, don't leave it to chance. Have a strategy. Try and get those reviews. And the reviews going into your EMR or your CRM are not going to, they're not going to get published necessarily. And so you need to have a strategy in effect for getting those out there onto the review sites. Let's see. So here's a question I get a lot. How do reviews lead to more businesses? And this is a good question because, reviews do influence all leads, even personal referrals. And this is how people think referrals work. They hear about your practice through a business card or some kind of promotional material or a personal referral. They see an ad on TV or radio, or they might see your ad on another website. They might see your Facebook profile. They might find you on Google or see you in a newspaper, and then they go right to your business. They pick up the phone and they call you, but that's not really how it works. How it works is they take all those referral sources and they're going to go check you out. They're going to check out your reputation. They're going to look at your website. They're going to look for any Facebook reviews or Google reviews. They're going to also ask for more personal references, or even check you out on Yelp, which I kind of shy away from Yelp. We can talk about that more in the Q&A. But yeah, they're going to check you out. They're going to look up your online reputation, and then they're going to do one of 3 things. They're either going to go to your business here. They're going to continue along the path and go to your business. They're going to see a competitor like Scapes, and maybe they're going to check your competitor out. Or they could be overwhelmed by the lack of, or the confusion, the lack of consensus among their different research, and do absolutely nothing and just put it off until later. So we don't want that to happen, obviously. So now the question is, so if all these people are getting referrals to Roundtree and they go and look up Roundtree and they end up going to Scapes instead, how many opportunities is Roundtree missing? And so Google has a tool, a keyword research tool. There's also a Google Trends tool where you can see what's trending and how many, what the volume is for searches. So I put Dallas Landscaping into the volume searcher, the Trends, Google Trends to check the volume. And I got a result of about 880 searches for Dallas landscaping in Google per month. And that was the search term that resulted in that screenshot with Roundtree at the top, Scapes, and then Seagreen. And so 880 searchers per month, that's 10,560 searchers per year. And those aren't just searches, those are actually potential customers or patients or clients, right? And so that's a lot of customers that are calling Scapes instead of Roundtree first. And then you have to ask yourself, what's the average dollar sale for landscaping in this example? Or ask yourself in your own practice, what's the average dollar amount for a new patient? And then how many new customers, in this case, in landscaping, would Roundtree need to capture to justify paying attention to this? So what kind of investment would they need to make in kind of making sure the reviews situation was constantly going, was a constant concern? Is it just one? It might be just one in the case of Roundtree, who probably does landscaping things in the, over $1,000 landscaping contracts. Their average sale might be over $1,000. It might be just one. So businesses and practice managers might assume they've done everything they can do to get great reviews. You've asked your happiest customers to leave a review. You've trained your employees to ask for reviews on a regular basis. You provide awesome service. That's the core of it, right? And you bug all your friends and your family into reviewing your practice or your business. But the reviews just never come, or they almost never come. I mean, you might be able to strong arm, your family to do it, but it's not consistent. It doesn't meet all of those various factors of review and perception. The one of them being that sort of timeliness run, right? The frequency. So the reason people don't leave reviews is they think it's time consuming. They think it's going to take them a lot of time and they don't have the time. They forget, or they think it's complicated and they don't know how. So what a lot of businesses assume that there isn't a way to solve that. They just kind of have to leave it up to the whim of people's, the sort of capricious whim of people's remembering and figuring it out. But it doesn't have to be that way. There are some simple things that you can do to make it quick and convenient, to help remind people, and to make it easy. So let's start with making it easy. One of the ways that you can make it easy is by adding a button to your website, right? Like right there up in the main navigation, a big Review Us button. But where does that go? It can go to a marketing funnel like this one. And this is the system that I use. And this marketing funnel has two options. I had a good experience, thumbs up. I had a bad experience, thumbs down. And what happens when they click, I had a good experience, is that they get taken to the options. Thank you. We're so glad you had a great experience. We need your help. Will you share your experience on one of these sites? And these sites could be anything you need. They can be Google and Facebook. They can be any of the number of healthcare sites. They can be local sites like BBB or some other local review sites. And once they choose one of those sites, once the user chooses one of these sites, then you can provide directions. This is how you leave a review on this site, and then take them straight out to the spot where they can type in their review and hit post. Super simple, making it super easy for them. And what happens if they had a bad experience, if they click thumbs down? Well, first off, we don't take them straight out to the review sites or the review links. We take them to a feedback form and we say, hey, you know what? We strive for 100% and we fell short. We're so sorry to hear that. Tell us more about it so we can talk. And you're taking that conversation offline. They have an opportunity to be heard. You, as a practice manager, you have an opportunity to respond to that and to mitigate whatever it is and to help turn that situation around. But we don't totally circumvent them from getting to that site. The review sites wouldn't like that very much. And so we do have at the bottom a line that says, hey, if you don't want to address your concerns here and you really still want to post a review, click here. And that takes them back out to the page with the different review site options, and then they can choose a site and post a review. But I'll tell you what, most people really just want to be heard. And they get, when they're faced by this form, when they're presented with this form, they think, oh, you do care. Here I go. I'm going to tell you what happened. And then, it's all in the follow-up there. So that makes it easy, right? But how do we help them remember what to do? I do that with an email reminder chain, a drip campaign. It's usually 3 emails that go out over the course of a week, and they're very short. Hey, thanks for choosing to do business with us. I'd really like you to invite you to share your experience. Click this button, and it takes them to that funnel. A few days later, they say, hey, I'm just writing to follow up. And finally, a week later, they get, hey, you know what? I hope you'll take a moment to share your experience. We've made it easy and quick, and this is the last time you're going to hear from us. Isn't too annoying. I found that this drip campaign with 3 works very well, and it really helps keep front of mind and help people move. I can also, I've also had success giving people an SMS message. And I've had different combinations of emails and texts for different clients, and we've had really, really good. And you know what? You can also ask anybody you email to give feedback by putting a little bit of HTML snippet right in your footer, leading them out to that funnel. How did we do? Click to rate, thumbs up or thumbs down. Tell us about it. You can spread the word on social media by automatically posting your positive reviews, your 4- and 5-star reviews, or just your 5-star reviews to your social media channels. And at the end of the day, this is what we want to see. We want to see in the blue the number of your reviews increasing over time by making sure it's a sustained effort and by making sure that we are staying in front of people by reminding them and making it easy. And then the black line shows the reviews, shows the average star rating, and you'll see once those review requests start going out and people start actually responding, that average star rating improves significantly pretty quickly. And so that's ultimately what we want to see at the end of all of that work. So that's pretty much it in terms of building trust through 5-star reviews. Making sure your online reviews are consistent across multiple sites, addressing those three big reasons why your customers don't post reviews, and then following some strategies and having a plan for gathering more reviews, which can ultimately help convince more new patients to join your practice. So before we go into the Q&A, I just want to ask you a question. Did you all find some value today from the information that I presented just now? I'd like you to let me know in the chat. Just give me a thumbs up, a yes, or whatever. Give me a response if they're, and that's great. I want to just get everyone active, get the blood flowing again so that we get ready for the Q&A session. But I'd love that activity. Awesome. I'm glad to know that you found some value here today, because that's what I'm here for. Again, I love to make sure that my, that my fellow local business owners are finding education and finding new ways to reach out to people and finding strategies for improving different aspects of their business. But so I actually have a quick question for you. If you all don't mind, I would really like you to take a quick survey, because and if I can get some information from you today. So if you want to take a minute and go to dasu.com/survey, hold on just a minute. You know what, I'm sharing my screen. So let me just go there myself. I need to move this window. There we go. Yeah, so if you go to, it's dassu.com and then /survey, it's going to take you to this survey. And it's really cool, it's really helpful, and it's really going to help me out tailor future presentations and help make my future presentations a little more effective over time. So if you don't mind taking this quick survey, the top of it is really straightforward. It's just like, what is your average, what do you think your average star rating is? And in which areas do you think you need help? Those are really key. What is the biggest concern for you with respect to reviews? Is it that star rating? Is it the overall number of reviews? Is it how you're able to keep track and respond to reviews? So just go ahead and check that box next to the one you see. Because I really want to learn from you all where you might currently have an issue and where you think you might need help. Now, the bottom part of the survey you'll see is if you'd like for me to send a quick report. And while some of these fields are required, because that's just how the form is set up, if you don't, this gives me an opportunity to send you a free report about this. It's a review report card, and I can help you kind of summarize some of the things about your reviews. It's totally free, and I'm offering it as a benefit to everyone attending this webinar or watching the recording online. And so, yeah, you can just let me know that there by filling in these things. Like I said, I know some of these fields are required, but if you aren't interested in this, you can, in this bottom field, just tell me you're not interested in the report. But I'd still love to get the information from you in terms of where you see the biggest challenges for you in your practice, and then hit submit. So I'd like to open it up for questions at this point to see if anybody has any questions that I can help, or any things that we can go. I'm going to switch this back to the slideshow for the Q&A. There we go, Q&A. If you want to reach me directly, you can email me directly at dominic@dasu.com. Oh, one thing I forgot to talk about. I also, for anyone on this call, there's a series of 3 short videos about your Google Business Profile listing. And you can find that at dasu.com/free Google training with dashes between free Google training. And that's also available. That series has a booklet that goes with it, a 32-page booklet, a guide. And if you want to email me, I can send that to you as well. So, any questions from anybody? Not seeing anything. Just to pop open that chat and get it in there. Get the question in there if you have anything, or pop it into the Q&A. I don't see anything in the Q&A pane right now. Yeah, so the way I do it, so there's a question here from Kay Wiggins about that review button. And yes, so you can have different things happen in that when you click on that button. You can take people straight out to, you can take people to a review site. So I've done this for clients before where I've actually installed a widget on their site where, just like on social media, it puts your best reviews right on your site. So it's always current, it's always up to date. And they can, so that leave a review button could take you to that page so people can see all the other great reviews, and there could be a form, or there could be a button, or that button can go straight out to that review funnel that you build. Or something, yeah. So that absolutely. In the case of the one that I showed you, the Charleston AMA, that went right out to their review funnel. So responding to reviews from mental health groups. Yeah, that's a tricky one. So I also have a question in the Q&A about what are some proven ways to respond to negative reviews. What you want to do when you're responding to a negative review is you always want to first take a minute. You never want to respond in the moment, because it's a negative review is emotional at any point along the way, no matter who you are. It's emotional for the person leaving it, it's emotional for the person receiving it. And if you're on the receiving end of that, that's something to do. So you always want to take a minute. What you want to do with those negative reviews is you really want to acknowledge, you want to let, especially in the mental health field, you want to let the public, the other people who can see your response, you want to let them know that you responded, that you are responsive, and then you want to move that offline. That's the answer right there. So respond to the review if you can in a reasonable way. We are sorry you had this experience, or we are we don't expect this. This is not this is not normal, but something like that you're empathizing, if you can, with the post, with the reviewer, and then saying, let's give us a call, contact us this way, or let us get in touch with you, let us know how to get in touch with you so we can get into, it might not always be obvious from their handle who they are, but if it is obvious, you can say, we have reached out to you privately to make sure that you're getting the attention you need. So I would, again, make sure that you're responding so that people can see what they're doing, or that see that you're active, but then moving it offline, showing them that you're responding, showing them that you're compassionate, and then letting them know that you are moving it to a more appropriate venue or appropriate medium. I don't believe there is an issue with any HIPAA regulations when you respond to a negative review. The person has already acknowledged that they are a patient in your practice through that review. So that is something that I can definitely go back to this has come up in the groups that among my colleagues of mine who kind of specialize in reviews. And most of what happens, like on Google or the other review sites, is they've already acknowledged that they are a patient, that they are in. You have to be careful, obviously, about divulging anything specific, but the fact that you are responding to the review should not create any HIPAA flags, should not. In the Q&A panel, I see another question about a review that might not be an existing patient. So there again, let them either respond. So there are two tracks here. You can appeal to, if it's on Google, you can appeal to Google and say they aren't a patient. With the pandemic, however, Google has a lot of their customer service is being generated by machine learning and artificial intelligence. And so that's a really, without getting, escalating to a human can take some effort. And so that might be harder to do. I would, gently suggest in the response that perhaps, they are confused about the practice, and ask them to get in touch with you. We can't find any records of your having visited our practice. Please get in touch with us so that we can sort this out and make it right for you. Don't call them out at being wrong. Be very gentle about it. But just point out gently that you're a little confused, and maybe they should get in touch. Maybe they can get in touch to let you know how you can help, sort of a thing. So yeah, I hope those are helpful questions. We've got a few more minutes if anybody else has other questions that they'd like to go into. Again, please do take a minute to fill out the survey at dostu.com/survey. Even without requesting, even if you don't want a reviews report, I'm always happy to share that with you. Fill in the required fields and let us know. Aside from that, Erin, I don't know.
Thank you, Dominic.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your questions and for participating today. Oh, something else just popped up there. One more question in the Q&A.
Oh, there it is.
Dominic, yeah.
So yeah, automating with an EMR system. When I do this for clients, I use I do leverage some software that helps us keep those things going in the review and the chains and everything. But we have occasionally used a Zap to set up something with an EMR system. But the easiest thing, because when we do this for our clients, we don't offer, it's not software as a solution. We offer it as a service for our clients. And so what we often do, I've even gone by, when it was a little more feasible, I've even gone by a practice to help them get, like a dental practice, get their stuff once a month to get their review, download their reviews. And really, when we do it, all we need is first name, last name, and their email address and or phone number. And so, if that comes out of your EMR, on a regular basis, either through some kind of a Zap integration or through a report that you can run that comes out on a regular basis and in a comma separated file or an Excel file. That's what we would work with, or that's what any professional that you work with on this front would do that. Some EMR systems will have this as an add-on that you can do, but a lot of them send you to a proprietary reviews environment. So it's not going out to the general public. So that extra step of getting it into a workflow, of actually getting it out of the EMR is something that you would probably have to work into your system. But again, it just depends. It depends on the individual EMR. It depends on how you've integrated it and how you're reaching out to clients. And that is, another question that often comes up is, do you have permission to send SMSs? And a lot of folks, since you're using an EMR, will already have had that authorization from your clients, from your customers, from your patients. So I hope that helps. It's always tough to answer that question without knowing more about specifics on the EMR and what's actually possible. So.
Thank you very much, Dominic. Thank you all for attending and for participating today. We appreciate it. We appreciate our partner states, the Virginia MGMA, West Virginia MGMA, and the Pennsylvania MGMA. Dominic, thank you for your time today and for the resources that you've made available to our participants and our participating states. I appreciate your time, and thank you all, and hope you have a great afternoon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and joining. And I hope again that you did find it useful and that you'll take advantage of some of these other offerings.